Events in history on July 13th. 574. John III ends his reign as Catholic Pope. 1174. William I of Scotland, key rebel in revolt of 1173 to 1174. Captured at Alnwick by forces loyal to Henry II of England. 1522. Hunger appeal by women of Utrecht. 1558. Battle of Gravelines in France. Spanish forces led by Count La Morale of Egmont defeat the French forces of Marshal Paul d'Armis at Gravelines. 1568. Dean of St. Paul's, London. Alexander Noel perfects a way to bottle beer. 1573. Harlem surrenders after 7 months to Spanish army. 1643. Battle at Roundway Down. Royalists beat parliamentary armies. 1645. Alexei Romanov succeeds his father Michael as Tsar of Russia. 1657. Oliver Cromwell constrains English army leader John Lambert. 1700. Treaty of Constantinople establishes peace after Russo-Turkish War. 1772. Captain James Cook begins his second voyage to the South Seas. Aboard HMS Resolution to search for Terra Australia's southern continent. 1787. Congress establishes Northwest Territory, excludes slavery. U.S. Ordinance of 1787 passed. Establishes first organized U.S. territory. 1794. Battle of the Vosges between French forces and those of Prussia and Austria. 1832. Source of Mississippi River. Discovered by American geographer Henry Schoolcraft. 1835. Swedish-American inventor John Ericsson files for a patent for his screw propeller design. 1836. U.S. patent number 1 after 9,957 unnumbered patents for locomotive wheels. 1837. Queen Victoria is first monarch to live in present Buckingham Palace. 1851. John F. Loudon discovers tin on East Indian island of Billiton. 1854. In the Battle of Guaymas, Mexico, General José María Yáñez stops the French invasion led by Count Gaston de Raus at Balbán. U.S. forces shell and burn San Juan del Norte, Nicaragua. 1861. Battle of Carrick's Ford. Virginia Carrick's Ford. Union Army takes total control of western Virginia. 1862. Battle of Murfreesboro, fought in Rutherford County. Tennessee begins Forest Raid, Confederate victory, U.S. Civil War. 1863. Anti-draft mobs lynch blacks in NYC, about 1,000 die. Battle of Bayou La Fourche, Louisiana. 1864. Early retreats from Washington City back to Shenandoah Valley. 1865. Horace Greeley, founder and editor of the New York Tribune, reputedly advises his readers to go west, young man. P.T. Barnum's museum in New York burns down. Jauntus Anna Hainingswan just escapes. 1868. Oscar J. Dunn, former slave, installed as Lieutenant Governor of Louisiana. 1870. King Wilhelm I of Prussia sends the Emser Depeche MS telegram to Otto von Bismarck, who publishes an edited version to purposely offend the French government, precipitating the Franco-German War. 1871. World's first championship cat show, organized by Harrison Weir and held in Crystal Palace, London. 1876. 29th U.S. Postmaster General James N. Tyner of Indiana takes office. 1878. Congress of Berlin ends, redrawing the terms of Treaty of San Stefano to give Russia less influence in old Ottoman Empire. 1882. 200 die as train derails near Cherny, Russia. 1893. Germany Army Bill is ratified. 1898. San Francisco Ferry Building at foot of Market St. opens. 1911. Great Britain and Japan renew their alliance of 1902. For another 4 years, the reason Japan joins WWI on the Allies' side. 1917. Vision of Virgin Mary appears to children of Fatima, Portugal. 1919. Race riots in Longview, Gregg County, Texas. 1923. American explorer Roy Chapman Andrews discovers the first recognized dinosaur eggs in the Gobi Desert, Mongolia. 1925. French occupation force begins evacuating country. 1930. David Sarnoff reports in Night Times. TV would be a theater in every home. 1935. U.S.-Russian Commerce Treaty takes effect. 1936. 112 Fahrenheit 44 degrees Celsius, Mayo, Michigan state record. 114 Fahrenheit 46 degrees Celsius, Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin state record. 1938. Kroller-Muller Museum opens in Holland. 1941. World War II, Montenegrins start popular uprising against the Axis powers Trina-Stojulski Ustanik. 1942. 5,000 Jews of Rovno, Polish Ukraine, executed by Nazis. German occupiers imprison 800 prominent Dutch as hostages. SS shoots 1,500 Jews in Józef, Poland. 1944. Vilnius, Lithuania, liberated. 1949. Pope Pius XII excommunicates communist Catholics. 1950. René Pleven forms French government. 1951. Great flood to million acres in Kansas and Missouri in central U.S. are flooded from rain-swollen Missouri and Kansas rivers. 1953. Battle of the Kumsong River begins. Last major battle of the Korean War. 1954. Dean Stone gets credit for Al Win. Although he didn't retire a batter, he threw out Shondians trying to steal home, AL-11 and L-9. 1955. Industrialist Cyrus Eaton first offers to host a conference on dangers of nuclear weapons in Pugwash, Nova Scotia. The last execution of a woman in Britain, Ruth Ellis, takes place at Holloway Prison, London. 1960. KDB-QM in San Francisco CA changes call letters to KYA. U.S. Democratic Convention nominates JFK as presidential candidate. 1962. 500 Indonesian parachutists land on New Guinea. U.S. performs nuclear test at Nevada test site. 1963. Indian government announces it will cut last remaining links with South Africa by refusing landing facilities to South African aircraft. 1966. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada founds the International Society for Krishna Consciousness Hare Krishna movement in New York City. 1967. Race riots break out in Newark, 27 die. 1968. French government coup d'Imerville forms. 1969. North Ireland loyalist Ian Paisley addresses a crowd at Loughgall, County Antrim, and is reported to have said, "I am anti-Roman Catholic, but God being my judge. I love the poor dupes who are ground down under that system." Russia launches unmanned Luna 15 to Moon. 1970. Building begins of Amsterdam Metro. The annual 12th parades passes off without serious incident in Northern Ireland. 1972. A series of gun battles and shootings erupt across Belfast between the Provisional Irish Republican Army and British Army soldiers. 1973. Bobby Mercer's 3 homers accounted for all RBIs, beating KC 5-0. Hector D. Campora resigns as president of Argentina. 1974. India's first one-day international v England, Headingley. 1975. 8.5 21.6 centimeters of rainfall, Dover, Delaware state record. 1976. Court-martial begins in USSR for Valery Sablin, hunt for Red Oct. 1977. NYC experiences 25 hours blackout. 1978. Albania drops diplomatic relations with People's Republic of China. Alexander Ginsburg sentenced by Soviet court to 8 years. Ford Motor Company Chairman Henry Ford II. Fires company President Lee Iacocca. Russian dissidents Ginsburg, Piatkis, and Sitz-Juranki sentenced to work camps. Walter Ponish completes swim of 207 kilometers from Cuba to Florida. 1980. USSR performs nuclear test at Eastern Kazakh, Semipalatinsk USSR. 1982. Train crashed at Alter, Belgium, 20 killed. 1983. The Transvaal Attorney General announces that Eugene Terreblanche, leader of the far-right Afrikaner Weerstand speaking AWB, and 3 associates will face terrorism charges, South Africa. 1984. The last sitting of an all-white parliament in South Africa. 1985. Doctors at Bethesda Naval Hospital removed a small benign polyps from U.S. President Ronald Reagan's colon. 1986. Zola Budd and Annette Cowley are banned from the Commonwealth Games, a direct consequence of Britain's refusal to support economic sanctions against the apartheid government of South Africa. 1992. The Tripartite Alliance, consisting of the African National Congress, South African Communist Party, and Congress of South African Trade Union, outlines a mass action plan for August. 1995. Space Shuttle STS-70 Discovery 20 launches. 1996. Cigar wins record 16th straight win, ties citation in 1940. 1997. Indonesian ferry sinks, killing at least 77. 2008. Brewing company InBev announces deal to buy American brewer Anheuser-Busch for almost $52 billion. 2011. Mumbai is rocked by 3 bomb blasts during the evening rush hour, killing 26 and injuring 130. 2012. 19 to 30 people are killed after a train collides with a truck in Malalane, South Africa. China's economic growth drops to 7.6%, its lowest level for 3 years. 2013. Black Lives Matter created in response to the acquittal of George Zimmerman on trial for the murder of Trayvon Martin. 18 people are killed and 40 are injured after a gravel truck collides with a bus in Podolsk, Russia. 10 people are killed after a bus crash in Minas Gerais, Brazil. 2015. Greek credit crisis, Eurozone agrees conditional deal to lend 86 billion euros over 3 years if Greece passes reforms. Sandra Bland is found dead in Waller County Jail, Texas after spending weekend in jail after a traffic offense. Her family disputes her supposed suicide. 2016. Theresa May is elected Prime Minister of the United Kingdom by Conservative Party MPs. 2017. U.S. President Donald Trump arrives in Paris for a today visit with French President Emmanuel Macron. 2018. Johnson & Johnson ordered to pay record for $0.7 billion in damages in talc cancer case by jury in U.S. state of Missouri. Large protests in London against U.S. President Donald Trump, featuring Trump-like baby blimp as President Trump meets Queen Elizabeth II at Windsor Castle. Outline of 5,000-year-old henge discovered at Newgrange, Ireland through drought and drone footage. Suicide bombing in Baluchistan, Pakistan. Targeting election campaign event kills 128. Islamic State claims responsibility. U.S. Department of Justice charges 12 Russian intelligence officers with cyber attacks against Democratic officials during 2016 U.S. election. 2021. Unprecedented early fire season in western U.S. as 67 large fires And nearly 918,000 acres reported burnt by Interagency Fire Center. 337 die in violent protests and looting in South Africa. Following the jailing of Jacob Zuma, with more than 200 shopping malls set alight. 2022. Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa flees to the Maldives. Just before leaving office amid nationwide protests and economic unrest. U.S. President Joe Biden lands in Israel to begin a 4-day trip to the Middle East.